Hey everyone, my name is Hans. I'm the head of growth at Wizard.co, and this is my advanced sales navigator training. Now, over the past years, both with Wiza or when I was still running an agency, I've been using Sales Navigator a lot to generate leads, to find prospects, and when I was talking with a lot of other people, with clients, we noticed that there's still a lot of misconceptions about Sales Navigator, and not everyone is getting the most out of Sales Navigator. So the most that they could be getting out of it, because it's a really powerful tool. I think LinkedIn and Sales Navigator, that combination, it's perfect for prospecting and for lead generation. You have all the information that you need. You have it right there. Plus, people they keep their LinkedIn profile updated, right? You keep your LinkedIn profile updated, so you're always going to have the most relevant, the most recent information, which makes it the best and most powerful solution for for lead generation. Excuse me. So today I want to I'll go over some common misconceptions, some things that people they don't know or they're doing wrong, which is costing them a lot of time, and which makes them not get the most out of the platform. Then after that, some essential tips that everyone needs to know to get the most out of Sales Navigator. After that, advanced tips. That's where it gets fun. And then in the very end, there is one final tip which I've noticed almost no one knows about, but it's extremely powerful when it comes to lead generation and getting the most out of Sales Navigator. So if you're watching the full training, make sure you stick with me until the end, because that's where where it gets more fun. So let's get started. So here we have Sales Navigator as you're probably familiar with now. I already have a search here. And the first thing I would like to go over is keyword match. So, when I was working with clients, a lot of things that I noticed is that they had a ton of filters in there. So, they maybe had 20, 30, 40, 50 filters in there for titles that they would either be going after or that they would like to exclude. So, the first misconception is that this is a keyword match. So you have in here, I have business development and I have sales. So as you can see, SVP growth sales, director programmatic sales, VP sales and business development, etc., etc. Well, you get the point, I think. So you have your senior director of sales. So instead of having to add all of those filters and all of those functions, having to add them there, just think of it as a keyword match. If you have ever worked with Google AdWords, then you're at an advantage here. So it is a keyword match, which means that if you just put in sales, you have all of those sales roles. Now, if you're saying, listen, I just want sales leaders, perfect. Then here is seniority level. You just pick, like I did here, you pick your CXO, your directors, managers, partners, etc. And then that way you can filter for decision makers in sales. Now the same goes for exclusion. So if you're saying, okay, we want I don't know, everyone in marketing, but no one in sales, just simply exclude sales. So you hover over sales, you exclude it, and then it will turn red, and that way you're excluding everyone in sales. So when you're working with these right here, with the title and function filter, just especially with the title one, make sure that you're aware of the fact that those are keyword match, meaning that you can save yourself a lot of time by using it that way, by using it correctly, instead of having to add all the functions that you're going after. So that was the first tip. Then second tip is splitting up searches. So the reason you would want to split up searches, and why I'm touching on that, is that a lot of people think that regardless of the amount that you have here, so imagine if I would take away the United States here from the geo targeting, then it's going to have 5,500. However, LinkedIn only displays 2,500 regardless of the amount of people that they match your filters. Because you have 25 people here on each page, LinkedIn displays 25 people. And as you can see, we have 100 pages here. So even if that is 5.5 million or 550,000, it is 100 pages at most, meaning that if you're thinking, okay, you know what, I've done, excuse me. So if you're thinking, I've done this search, And you know what? I've gotten every lead in this search. Let's move on to the next one. You're burning through your leads. So you're missing out on a lot of potential leads because LinkedIn is only displaying 2,500. So how you would have to deal with that is you would have to split up your searches. So as I did earlier, in here you could say, you know what, United States, 2,500 is perfect. We'll first do those, and then we'll go after the same people, but in the UK, Australia, or you can split it up by headcount, just whatever works. Play around with it a little bit, but just be aware of the fact that LinkedIn only displays 2,500. So for the next one, sharing lists is not as seamless as people think. So if you're on a team account, if you're on a Sales Navigator team account, then you're gonna have times where you've made a list of maybe 100 interesting people, and you're sending them to your CEO, saying, "Hey, these are people that might be interesting, and maybe you want to extract their emails or whatever the purpose is." Now, as you can see here, there's some information missing. So some of these people, they have the add account button. Now, when you're sharing a list, that happens quite often after the most recent Sales Navigator update. Every quarter, LinkedIn is pushing an update, and then after this update, there was something that happened. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to just click here, and he has that company that he's associated with. Some people have two. So what you could do is just say, you can have a look at his profile and see whichever company he's working at. Then if he's working here, as you can see here, this is just some freelance work he's doing on the side. Then you go with Flux, and then you know the company that he's working with. So sharing lists is not as seamless as you might think. Then for the essential tips, um, exclusions are really important. So as you can see here, there are blue and there are red filters or pills, or however you would like to call them. So the red ones have been excluded and the blue ones have been included. I already touched on it a little bit earlier. So what you could do is, let's take the example I brought up earlier. If you want people that work in business development but not people that work in sales, you can block out everyone that is in sales. So that is interesting, if some functions are relevant to you, but it's also really helpful if you want to break up those searches. So if you're saying, okay, um, I have everyone in the United States, but I want to split it up. So I'm going to add Canada, for example. But you want to make absolutely sure that you're not having the same leads in that twice. So you don't want to reach out to the same people twice, or you just want to make sure that you break it up. Then you exclude the United States, and then that way you're making sure that you don't have any duplicates and that you have clean searches everywhere. So that really helps in splitting up your searches. It really helps in breaking things down. It can help you exclude existing clients, previous clients, maybe some people that you have a problem with. It can help in a lot of things. It can help break things down by industry. So it's a very, very helpful tool to exclude people. Then next is keywords. In Sales Navigator, you can use keywords to filter for companies or for people. What I found is that is most powerful when it comes to accounts. So when you're looking for certain companies, for example, for Wiza, we were looking for lead generation agencies that we wanted to have a coffee with, basically. So you'll just type in the keyword lead generation. On LinkedIn, they're, like I said, they're pushing updates every quarter at least, so they're getting more powerful every time that they're pushing updates. So this is actually surprisingly accurate. Now in this case, we're not going to find too much just because I already have existing filters. But if you would do that for accounts, for example, you can just filter for lead generation agencies, or for software development agencies, or for event agencies. It is not 100%, so you'll still need to have a little bit you need to scrub your list a little bit. but it is getting more and more accurate with each update that LinkedIn is pushing. So it's definitely something that you want to be trying, that you want to be looking at for yourself. If you have a really specific niche that you're going after, or some really specific industry characteristics, then the keyword tool can be very interesting. I will touch on it a little bit later, but it's definitely something that you want to be using. Then saving leads or saving lists in Sales Navigator is something that is very, very powerful, especially if you're doing more of account-based approach. So if you're doing more, so if your volume of reaching out isn't too high, so if you're more in the enterprise sales, what it means is if you have people here that you say, okay, these people are interesting. I don't want to start emailing or calling them right away because, hey, that is just not how our industry works. You can save them to a list. You can then name that list whatever works for you, maybe your sales leaders or decision makers at. And then that way, LinkedIn will give you updates. You can, after clicking save, you can choose, okay, I want to have updates every week, month, whatever works for you. So you'll have your lists here. Then you have the people that are in there. Then you can add notes there. And then these people, you will receive updates on them. And where you will see those is here, right here in your home screen, in the Sales Navigator homepage. Now you can change what you want to see. For example, if you're in recruitment, you want, or if a trigger point for you is people who just started as new CFOs, for example. So maybe, okay, you're thinking, okay, he started as a new CFO, he's want to change things up, so my service is relevant. So you'll save maybe 200 CFOs in your area. Then you'll click this filter, lead change jobs, or you'll do it for accounts, for example. And then whenever someone starts a new CFO function in those companies that you've saved, or whenever those CFOs that you have saved start a new CFO function at a different company, you will receive an update. Now you can choose if you're going to receive that by email. You can choose if you want to receive that right here in your homepage, and you can have a look. You'll also receive some notifications in your actual LinkedIn notifications. And where you can set up those settings is right here. So you'll head to here and you'll click settings. Then you scroll down to here where you have alert preferences, difficult word. Then you'll just choose whatever works for you. So of course, for everyone is different what works for them. And then you will those updates will be pushed to you either on your homepage or by email. And as you can see, you have quite a few. So when they're in the news, or when they share something, when they change role, when they viewed your profile, then you can say, okay, hey, notice you check me out. Let's follow up in whatever way, maybe by email or by having a call. Then for accounts, account funding news is pretty powerful. I know a lot of people, they're using other tools, maybe your Crunchbase or whatever tool you're using to track funding. LinkedIn is also developing that function, and they're getting better at it. They're not perfect, but it's growing, and they're doing better. So saving those lists and then setting notifications, that is a very powerful tool as well, especially if you're in enterprise sales or your target market is a bit smaller, so you really want to keep tabs on everything. That is very powerful as well, and something you definitely want to be using. For our next tip is extracting your contacts in Sales Navigator. So a lot of people are reaching out and saying, okay, I want to extract my first contacts. So the way you'll do that is with Wiza installed. You'll have this button right here that says export emails with Wiza. So what you'll do is you'll go to relationship, first degree connections, and then you'll have all your first degree connections. As you can see, I have around 1,500 first degree connections. You'll just hit export emails with Wiza, and you'll extract all your first degree connections. Again, if you have more than 2,500, you want to break that up. Maybe first all the ones in the United States, then the rest, whatever works for you, whatever is relevant in your case. And then that way you can just export all of them. Maybe you're saying, okay, maybe I only want the ones that are interested in my company, the ones that have been in the news, changed jobs. If you're in recruitment, then you can just export those emails as well, and you can reach out to those people. And that way you have a nice and neat CSV of all of those people. Then next is how to extract people that are in groups. So for me, for example, I know there are some groups that are really interesting for Wizza when it comes to lead generation, people that we want to reach out to or try and set up a partnership with. So how you do that, you look for a group here. So there are actually a lot of filters here. So if you go to view all filters and you scroll down here to groups, and then you'll filter for people that are in sales best practices, for example, or sales and marketing recruiters. Then as you can see, there's 333,000. So I will have to break this up into bits of 2,500 if I want to extract those. And then it works the same. You just hit export emails at Wizza. We will find those emails for you, and that's all there is to it. So that's really easy. The next and the final one when it comes to essential tips is not all the filters that are here, not all the options that are here, they are displayed. So I think a good example is industry. So what people sometimes tend to do is they look here and they think, hey, you know what, my industry isn't in here, so it doesn't exist, or LinkedIn doesn't index it. However, if you start typing, so maybe I want people in oil and energy, so this one wasn't displayed, but it's still there. So it's really important that when you are looking for those filters or things that are relevant to you and your business, is that you start typing and that you make sure that that the filter actually there, because not all of them are displayed simply because that wouldn't fit in the screen. So that's pretty straightforward, I think. By typing, there's a lot of more filters that come up that could be relevant to you. Then advanced sales navigator tips. So this is what you guys have been waiting for. There's some very interesting tips, and to start with is a tip of including past companies. So if you already have clients that you've been working with, then something that is very powerful is to include that company. So if, for example, we are working with Apple, then we'll include Apple. However, instead of current, we'll go with past. So you'll just find people who used to work at Apple. So in that way, if, for example, we used to... Oh, that is interesting. There we go. Maybe there's some kids watching. So if you're currently working with Apple and you'll search for sales leaders that used to work at Apple and you reach out to them, you can either say, hey, you remember how you used to work with us? Now that you're working at Microsoft, maybe you want to work with us again. Then they'll know you, and those are going to be some very, very good leads for you to reach out to. Or they're going to know, okay, you know what, these guys I don't know them, but they're working with Apple. I used to work there. I know they don't just work with anyone, and that's still a really good into that new company, into that prospective client. So those are some of the best leads that you're going to find using LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So if you already have some clients that you're working with, then you definitely want to be using that filter as well, or that option as well. Then the next advanced tip is Boolean Search. I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So basically what it is you can search for marketing manager or marketing advisor, for example. Or market. So you have the options of or, you have the option of and. So you want marketing managers and marketing advisors. And Sales Navigator will then find those people for you. The same goes here when it comes to matching. So you can say, I only want people that have marketing advisor in their title. So then Sales Navigator again will find those people. So as you can see, then it is keyword match, so we'll either find it in their company, in their title, but it's really powerful. And that way you can really filter down a lot better into the people that you're looking for. Usually, it works a little bit better than searching by function. If you have a really clear ideal customer profile that you're going after, and this is something that you definitely want to check out as well, to search for more leads using Sales Navigator. Then one other Sales Navigator tip that not a lot of people are familiar with, and which I think is really interesting, especially again if you have a bit of a smaller market that you're going after, is the view similar. So if I would go for a saved search here, it's gone. So basically what it does is you'll go over view similar. Then if you have your list, or if you have some people that are really ideal, then simply hit view similar and you'll find people will have the exact same title or same experience or same type of company that they're working at. So as you can see, there's 100 people similar to Scott Allen right here. And if you have, again, if you have a really specific ideal customer profile, then that is another really powerful tool that a lot of people are not using and that they're not utilizing. So if you just simply go here, you can go for view similar, and Sales Navigator will find people that are similar to those leads that are most interesting to you. It's definitely something that you want to check out. Then one Sales Navigator tip that almost no one is using, but is really, really, really powerful in finding the right leads. And I've already made a couple of videos about it, but I really want to touch on it again because still not a lot of people are using it and not a lot of people know exactly what it can do for their business. And I think it's something, especially if you're in the technology sector, or you're a developer, or if you're in the tech sector, so in technology, then it's just something that is really powerful and interesting. So what you'll do is you'll start a new account search, and what we'll do is we want to search for certain technologies that people are using. Now, how it works is Sales Navigator, it looks for tags that people have on their website. So if, for example, they are using if they're using Google Analytics, then you'll have a tag on your website, a Google Analytics tag. So what you'll do here, you'll start searching. So you'll see here Google Analytics. If they're working with Angular, then Sales Navigator will be able to detect the technology that they're using. Again, these are just a few examples, but you can just start typing, and more things will come up. So, for example, these are companies that are using Cloudflare DNS, or maybe companies that are using jQuery on their website. And then what you'll do next is you'll want to save all of these to a list. Now, this is where a little bit of manual work comes in. So you just select all these companies here that are working with jQuery, or maybe you're saying, okay, you know what, Microsoft, not going to happen. They're not going to work with me. Then you can filter more by company headcount. Okay, maybe I want somewhat smaller companies that are working with jQuery because those are ideal customers for me. Then you'll take all of these, you'll save them to a list, and you call it jQuery businesses, for example. So you can add 25 at a time because there's 25 on this page. Again, we have 560K here, but there are going to be 100 pages, so only there are going to be 40 pages, excuse me, so only 100 are displayed. So what that means, if you want all those companies, then I suggest breaking it up into batches and then just filtering by geography, maybe by state in the United States, or by industry. You'll add those to a list, then you'll save that list. You call it jQuery 1, jQuery 2, etc., etc. And then what you'll do is, if you start a new lead search, is you'll go here to custom list. And for example, people that are working with big data or jQuery, whatever the name of the technology or the list that you've made is, then you'll drop it in there. And now these are people that work at companies that are only using that specific technology. So that is something that is super, super powerful if you're in a tech sector. But then again, I haven't explored all the technologies that they can filter for. I'm sure there's a lot of technologies in there that are relevant to people in hundreds of different fields and sectors, and it's something not many people are aware of, and it's really, really powerful and interesting when it comes to filtering down on really specific leads. And it will also help you in making your outreach a lot more specific. So then you can say, hey, we work with a lot of companies when it comes to updating their jQuery, or when it comes to updating their Spotify design. So that way you can say, okay, you know what, we're a business, we're a web design company, and we do Shopify, we do WooCommerce, and we do Drupal, for example. So instead of then just sending a mass email saying, hey, we do web design, you can then make it really specific, saying, hey, we work with people with companies in the retail industry who have Shopify stores, and we can update it for you. We work with companies in the shipping industry who are working with, who have a B2B shop based on WooCommerce, and we can update it. That way you can just make it really specific, and you can really drill down the type of client that you want to go after, and you can make your outreach a lot more specific. So you're not only finding the ideal clients for you, but you're also making your outreach more specific again, which just makes it all the more powerful to use that filter. So that was the one tip that I think maybe 5% of all people using Sales Navigator are utilizing. So if you're watching this and you're going to start using it, you're ahead of most people that are in business development or that are doing sales for their own company, and you're going to guaranteed you're going to find more leads using this advanced tool or advanced filter. So that was the advanced training for LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Really hope you learned something. Really hope you found it useful. If anything brought up questions, just make sure you ask them. Depending on the platform that you're watching this, either put in the comments there, or you can send me email directly, hans@wizza.co. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. What you can also do, and what you probably should do, is head over to wizza.co. You can ask me a question live chat there, and you can claim 20 free credits. Now, what those 20 free credits mean is you'll be able to use Wizza to export emails from Sales Navigator. We only charge for valid emails. So for those 20 credits, you'll get 20 valid emails, meaning you can send 20 emails. And who knows, you'll find your first client using those 20 free credits. Then if you mention you've watched this video, this training, then I'll give you 20 more credits, just because I appreciate you watching and reaching out to me. So thank you, and hopefully I'll see you soon.